Well, hello everyone. How are we doing today? Hopefully I'm mixed well. Hope y'all can hear me fine. I haven't been live in a few months. So, here we are. We're going to give it a few minutes just to wait for people to trickle in, and then we'll get right to the fanfics. How are we all doing this evening? Let me make sure. Am I getting sound? Yes, we are getting sound. Perfect. Very good. What's going on, Nick? I am fine. Had a decent day today. Spent today, well, when I wasn't working, I was reading the subject for, hold up a second. I gotta stop everything I'm talking about right now and address this comment. Hey, Nick, I read Hell's Gulf recently from the library and I loved it. Reading Godtide next. Your library? It's in a library? Where'd that come from? That's super cool. That's super cool that you found my book in a library. Yeah. Cooking my dinner right now as I watch the stream. If I burn my house down, it's your fault. That is definitely what Greg Heffley would say. So I think you have the spirit of the stream down pat. GD25TT. Someone donated a copy. That was nice of them. Hopefully they liked it. Hopefully they were like, wow, this book was so good, everyone deserves to read it. Did you paint this stream as a villain? Yeah. I think because we're reading about Greg Heffley, I think that's a given. Everyone, we have a celebrity in the chat. Draith is in the chat. Draith played the FBI agent in my video, so everyone say hi to Draith. Won't be commenting much because I'm working on another story on Wattpad, but I think I'll enjoy this. Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy this. Nick, have you ever read the Skeleton Creek books? It felt like such an artifact from the late 2000s, blah, blah, blah. So, I've not heard of those, but, always down for suggestions. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to give it about 2 or 3 minutes. We're just going to kind of shoot the shit until then, and then we'll get right into the fanfics, which, what do we have? First one is, yep, Greg Heffley and the Ballistic Missile. I have it pulled up now. I hope there won't be any cursed LLBs. Oh no, there's cursed LLBs. Zooey Mama. Yeah. Yes, Draith also sung the Public Enemy cover. Amazing vocalist. Greg Becomes an Orphan is a classic. There are kid horror books with website links URLs into them that can take you to alleged cursed footage. Huh. Do the links still work? If you said like late 2000s, early 2010s? Because for late 2000s, early 2010s, that was kind of a ambitious concept. Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of just to further the point. I've been getting a lot of requests to make a part 2, read more, Diary of a Wimpy Kid LLBs. I mean, nothing saying I can't. I mean, the only problem is that I honestly did not expect that video to blow up as much as it did. So first of all, thank you all very much for letting that happen. But at the same time, you also absolutely cannot predict which videos will do well and which ones will, just kind of flounder. Like, I thought the Mario video from a few weeks ago was going to blow up, but I guess not. I mean, you never tell. I thought that, like, with a title like that, with Mario being the Mario movie being a hot topic right now, it gets more than 20,000 views, but and then you got the Wimpy Kid video, which surpassed that in about a day and a half and is now about to cross 100,000. So we like hearing you criticize books. Fair enough. If you like hearing me criticize books, then you're definitely going to like the next video. Wimpy Kid is an evergreen subject with internet reading nerds. True. Very true. Like I said, I was like 10 when I first read the books, so yeah, I guess they are a big part of my childhood. I haven't watched a Mario movie video yet since I haven't seen the Mario Galaxy movie. Fair enough. Okay. We're having fun tonight. I unfortunately ran out... Oh, I was waiting for this comment. Have you read Dan Brown's newest book? No, I have had no desire to. I have been planning for a long time, like a Dan Brown retrospective video, one that's like spans an hour or more, just to kind of like put that to bed, because I used to read those books all the time when I was in high school. I thought they were amazing back then, but then I started rereading them a few months ago, and I was like, I really thought this was good. I mean, there are some things I like about them, but, you know, let's not pretend they're anything, like, you know, amazing. I think they're a bit more clever than people give them credit for, but, anyway, it is 8:05 now, so we are just going to switch over. Let me make sure I'm on the right page. Yep, we're going to switch over to the fanfic reading screen. And we are going to start with a much requested, actually the top voted LLB, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Greg Heffley, and the Ballistic Missile. Do you stream games? Not really. On special occasions, and I'm always loud about them, but, you know, not this time. Can I make this bigger? Can I? Yes, I can. Cool. Okay. Do you think Manny Heffley is a prime asset? Actually don't know. Okay, so, sorry, that's all my head's at right now. Anyway, so we're just going to get right into it. Sorry for dilly-dallying. I was trying to answer all the stream questions. So, we're going to get started. This is one of the more notorious LLBs, the Ballistic Missile. I've never watched this channel before, and I am terrified. Well, be terrified no longer, because you're in my arms now. This I got a lot of requests to read. Draith, my FBI agent, kept forcing it on me, so finally I relented. And because it was a top voted suggestion, it's now the first one we're reading tonight. So without further ado, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Greg Heffley, and the Ballistic Missile. Here we go. Day 1. Riley and I were making lemonade to cool off after some heavy rounds of Twisted Wizard. Not long after, Dad exclaimed to us that there's a ballistic missile heading towards our town in an hour and we need to evacuate immediately. Riley and I were unsure if this was actually happening. I then received a notification on my phone. Dad was right. We got everything we needed and loaded everything into the car as fast as humanly possible. We saw other cars pull out of their driveways the same time we did. Look at Manny's all... Manny gives her the toilet. Nice. 50 minutes left. Riley decided to tag along with us since his fat ass was too slow to run back home. Anyway, we started hitting the road. We found we didn't have enough seats for Riley, so we taped Manny's legs to the roof of the car. I don't care. It works. My mom then thought that giving Manny a gun would eliminate traffic, which is a stupid idea, but she still did it. If we put Manny on the roof of the car with a gun, we'll have less traffic to deal with. A few minutes later, we heard a gunshot from the top of the car. Manny shot the gun and killed someone. We don't know who he killed, but after Roderick heard the gunshot, he started congratulating Manny and told him he's doing a good job. This family, I tell ya. Good job, Manny! 38 minutes left. Dad started speeding just to get to some underground bunker in a park miles away so we could settle there during the nuclear fallout. Manny is on a shooting rampage right now, killing pedestrians left and right just to shave a few seconds. Riley's been biting his nails the entire ride. Jesus. Dad said we could haul all our stuff into the bunker in about 10 minutes. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the tape off Manny's shoes in time. I hope Dad brought some spare drummies. I didn't even have lunch today. That's his concern. I managed to pack my Xbox, but I forgot Formula 1 racing at home. Riley's gonna be pissed. I wish Holly was with us. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Greg has repopulation fantasies. Lore-accurate Manny. True. 32 minutes left. We're getting really close to the bunker. Dad said we'll have time to spare if we don't get distracted, but then we heard a faint scream and a whack. Ah! When we all checked to see what happened, Manny flew off the car, hit the tunnel wall, and died. Nice. It was an absolute bloodbath. I wish I had the red ink to show it because Manny was pouring blood out of every severed limb. We had no idea where the gun went, though, and that's the only weapon we packed. This is not a good sign. Jesus, he looks like he looks like a little housefly on the windshield. Oh my god, that's good art. 30 minutes left. Rip Bozo. Let's go. Manny dead. Packwatch. 30 minutes left. After the Manny incident, we kept driving. Not long after, another family tried to escape pointed back, trying to signal something. Turns out, there's a car that's driving 120 miles an hour and is crashing into every car and is still running. We parked into an empty parking lot. Okay. Just in time before that car came in and killed us all. I can't say the same for the other family, though. Like I used to label, speeding car, us, other family. Greg's a better artist than we give him credit for because he was able to get motion blurred down with presumably just a pencil. If we were as little as a second behind, we'd all be dead. We got insanely lucky on this. If we can survive that, we can definitely survive the missile. 22... Oh, Jesus, I just saw that art. 22 minutes left. Remember when we taped Manny to the roof of our car? Turns out other people did that too, because Dad was assassinated from a bullet to the head. Oh my god. After we heard the gunfire, Mom pulled the emergency brake and we all took cover, to the best of our extent. Shots were still being fired at our car, and luckily nobody was hurt from the bullets. The windows? Not really the same story, as Raleigh got cut deep in his arms and legs. I found a disinfectant and some band-aids in a first aid kit, and that helped him stop crying about it. We had to dump Manny off the side of the road, and Mom had to take the wheel. She immediately went ham on the gas pedal. For a while, the ride was perfectly fine, until we ran out of gas. There were no open gas stations, so we had two choices. Run to the bunker on foot with all our supplies, or jack someone's car. What do you think we chose? Losing the weight of Manny gave them the extra speed they needed to evade the speeding car. Wow. Draith knows physics. Frank dead. Holy shit, it is JFK. Frank. John Frank Kefley. Nailed it. I've seen this panel before. 18 minutes left. There was a family of 3 getting into a car that was right next to us when we ran out of gas. These dumbasses placed a shotgun on the roof of their car, and thanks to that, we easily offed those fuckers. Turns out they have a lot more supplies than we did in our car. They even packed drummies. 5 boxes of them, in fact. Scream! I love how even the canon books do that. They just type out scream. That's really good. There is a slight, and by slight I mean huge, problem with our car raid, though. People saw what we were doing, and not long after, they tried to kill us. Not for a new supply haul, oh no, but for killing those 3 idiots? Were they cousins? Well, I never got an answer to that, as Roderick slammed them in the head with a bat, but then they beat the absolute shit out of Roderick. I had to escort him back to the car before they could deal any more damage to him. He could have died. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Fucking Roderick, the goddamn piece of shit. We were loading the fucking bags into the bunker, and the bitch jumped in and locked us out before we could even toss him all the drummies. That motherfucker left us to die. Holy shit, everyone. Question marks. Well, I guess this is it. I'm going to die. The bomb's already gone off. I can feel the heat on my face. I'm not making it out of this. Well, I guess there are worse ways to die. At least I've got my best friend and Mom right next to me. Manny. Dad. I'll see you too soon. What an image. Okay, so this is when Rowley sat on that tinfoil toothpick thing. Mom seems to have developed a single gray hair in the blast radius. And Greg is actually, we actually have a interesting perspective. We can see that Greg is actually looking at the explosion, which looks like that. You can't tell me that isn't cauliflower. That is just cauliflower. You can't tell me that's a mushroom cloud because it's just cauliflower. Also, how did he have enough time to not only write an entry but draw everything? That's the one unrealistic thing about this LLB. Brother spent his last moments drawing himself dying. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Greg's head facing the other way looks cursed as fuck. Yes, it does. Bomb that gives you a strand of gray hair. Roderick will repopulate the world via mitosis. He can do that. So yeah, I wanted to... It would have been... I guess I could have talked about this in the full video, given like a few minutes of treatment, but it is rather short. And apart from the weird drawings, like Greg looking the other way, like, it's fine. I mean, I know it's probably shocking, but... Especially if it's your first Wimpy Kid LLB you've read, but it's funny. It had a lot of funny moments in it, but it was a little short, in my opinion. And I think talking about it would have retreaded the same ground I talked about when I did the dark web. So it makes sense considering how obsessed Greg is with legacy. That is also true, but there's no guaranteeing that the bomb also would have fried the journal. So anyway, so that was Greg Heffley and the Ballistic Missile. Good strong start to this stream. Is an LLB just shit made out from the books? Yes. It is made from assets from the books, the font, the page layout. People just cut and paste their own stuff. Anywho, now we move on to the second most requested LLB from the community post. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Greg browses Rule 34. I hate to admit that when I was trying to Google where to find this LLB, I actually found a Rule 34 link with Greg Heffley. And I was like, nope, not touching that with a 60-foot pole. No chance in hell I'm clicking on that. I'm pretty sure that was like an FBI like trap or something like that. As you can see, we have actually kind of a funny cover. Greg seems to be holding on to the monitor for support because he can't believe what he's seeing on screen, and you can see Rowley just kind of peeking in the the window there. FBI agent, get on this. No, do not get on this. This is only for academic purposes. Anyway, by u/dustgold. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Greg browses Rule 34. This one's actually pretty short, so we're just gonna we're just gonna go there. I just saw the bottle of lotion. God damn it. Okay. Monday. Lately, I've been overhearing 8th graders in the halls talking about hentai. I heard it's like anime, but with more kissing. Look, I'm not a weeb, but I do enjoy myself some Wizard Ball Z every so often. So I decided to look into it. There's this kid called Lionel James who sits behind me and he moans in the middle of class. I'm sure he must know something. Psst, Lionel, where could I find hentai? Wow. Tuesday. Yesterday, Lionel told me about a little something called Rule 34. A website with not only hentai, but with anything you could possibly imagine. That's how you're going to put it? Lionel also told me something else. This website isn't only about anime characters kissing. Too bad he was really vague about it, so it's up to me to see what he's talking about. And that's why I'll be doing what I'll be doing right now with my friend Rally. I'm actually kind of excited. We searched up rule34.xxx on my computer, like Lionel said, and this is what appeared. Good grief! You know, I don't actively seek out wimpy kid hentai, believe it or not, but that art style is surprisingly fitting, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, not the front page. Yeah, does the front page even have that? Like just scantily clad bikini girl lounging, staring at you expectantly? Anyway. Holy cow. Holy cow. Riley and I are on an adult site. An anime girl with a bikini is staring at us as we speak. There's no going back now. I told Riley to type something in the search bar. Oh no. I actually don't know what's gonna happen. Oh no! Ah! No! No! I know what that is. I remember from the books. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh. Oh, well, you know, y'all recommended this, so I guess I gotta read it. Ugh. Rowley was freaking out. He begged for me to take his place. I agreed, but I told him that he would tell me what to look up. So, Rowley's the pervert. How about Lil Cutie? He's a kid, so they won't draw him wearing a bikini. That may have been the most genius thing that he's ever come up with, is what I've thought for like 2 seconds. But oh boy, both of our smiles let out traumatized yells when we saw this. I'm no longer so little. No, no, not the jar. Oh, I thought that fate was only reserved for ponies. Now it's for Lil Cutie. Lil Cutie was an obvious parody of, what's that strip called? Family Circus? Yeah. Does anyone even like Family Circus? Besides, like, old people? There were 17,703 Lil Cutie search results in total. No. And yeah, some of these Lil Cutie posts did have him wearing a bikini. Weird enough, he wasn't even a boy in most of these. In most of these. What is with this grammar? He was even covered in fur in a few of them, but when he wasn't, he was just completely naked. I've literally just joined what the actual fuck is this. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. So sorry I had to jump in on this. Good thing 90% of the artists age him up by a lot. That still leaves a troubling 10%. Because I didn't want to see a kid my little brother's age on here. Even if Lil Cutie belongs to a really bad fictional comic. But there was one artist that really disturbed me in Rally. His username was do you say Shadman or Shadman when you have this little accent mark? Shadman? Shadman? I don't know. Okay, apparently the chat is popping off right now, so apparently this person is well known among you people. So, enlighten me, chat. Who is this person? He was responsible for most of the I have a feeling this guy is not a good person. He was responsible for most of the underage drawings of Lil Cutie. He's like, you don't want to know, he's like a bad well, of course I'm going to, look it up after the stream's over. In incognito mode, of course. Okay, so I guess we're not talking about Shadman, so let's just move on. I dared Rally to click on his profile, and he did. Look, I know what sex is, but I never knew that there is a whole website dedicated to drawings of it. this Shadman dude didn't only draw naked people ranging from 15 to 40 years old, but he also drew the older characters having actual sex. Okay, this drawing is awesome. Why didn't I talk about this in my video? Okay, I love Rowley's look here, and then Greg's like... I didn't even notice that Rowley was crying by then. I guess his sobs were a little too loud because Roderick and his band must have heard the noise because before I knew it, they were already in my room. Plus, I couldn't exit the tab. The screen was frozen. Well, isn't that convenient? I was worried. Rowley was crying and Roderick's face was lit up. He knew exactly what was going on. These kids are looking at Shadman! No. What is going... Did he... This motherfucker just pulled on his pants and started fapping in front of 12-year-olds. I moved an inch, and a band member blocked the door. I knew that I was dead. But Roderick's first order of business wasn't to give me a noogie. It was to argue with his band over which Rule 34 artist they would show us. Let's show them someone else. Twisted Grim? Maybe, Derpix? Okay. Consider it a good sign I don't know who or what any of these are, okay? Maybe Derpixon? Derpixon? Nah, -8. I just hope that they aren't like Shadman. Oh boy. Look, I'm considering it a badge of honor that I don't know who these people are, so I don't know what you guys are... Okay, I just saw this picture now. I unfortunately do know where this is from. So... But then I realized they can't actually do anything. The screen was frozen after all. Maybe this bad situation turned out alright. The screen is frozen, Roderick. Just show them... He went up to my computer and saw all the Shadman content. I mean, he already knew what Rowley and I were doing, but he still gave off a laugh. Well, his laugh grew louder when he realized that the screen wasn't even frozen. Pfft, nice try, dork. It's zone tan time. I don't know what that is either. I was dumbfounded. Is my luck that bad? I remember seeing this... No, the first time I saw it, it was a SpongeBob meme where they did that joke where he was looking for the sports channel and he was watching the first few seconds of that. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I looked it up and I was like, huh, this is really well animated. How can I send my LLB? I mean, you can send it to my email if you really want. I mean, I don't know if I'll do another... Whether or not I'll do another LLB video is up in the air, but feel free to send it to my email. Friday. I drew a busty Mrs. Craig during class today. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Look at those curves. Like, that is a pear right there. That is a pear shape. My life has really gotten to this point, and I feel very confused. Just 2 days ago, me and Rowley were forced to watch Jenny the Robot get clapped by some rock things due to Roderick. Rowley may be scarred for life, but me? Not at all. Because the thing is, that video was so well made. Thank you! Thank you! And it's driving me insane. It was like watching an official video of my life as a teenage robot. I wish to imitate Zone Tan's ways. No. Gooner Greg. True. Oh no. Come on, load! Don't do this to me. Why are you not loading? God damn it, why is this all pixeled out? The one thing I find that it's pixeled out. That's really annoying. Anyway. Maybe, why is it like that? Wait, it looks decent on the stream. Dude, that... Fucking Lionel James. Dude, that's hot. Crack. Ugh, Lionel James. I guess I should thank him for introducing me to R34, but I should also totally hate him for it. I need to tell him anything. I need to tell him everything. It would only make sense if he knew what he has put me through. Dude, you suck. Boom! To be continued. Oh no, Shadman captured Lionel James. He's going to draw R34 content of him. Yeah, exactly. The computer refuses. Exactly. It did not want me to see the last page of the LLB, even though it's technically the most appropriate of them all. So that happened. That was very funny. The drawings were very good. It was shocking. Mercifully short. This was a good LLB. Even though I didn't need to see Lil Cutie in that context. Anyway. 12 out of 10. Great game. And now we move on to the third most requested LLB. That being Irreversible Damage, the one where Greg turns into a girl. Gregina, or whatever. So for people asking me to do requests, I had a community post a few days ago telling people, hey, tell me which LLBs you want me to read, and the top voted suggestions are being read tonight. So, this one's pretty long. It might take up the rest of the night. This was the worst experience I've ever had. Well, I'm glad I could share it with you. So, you know, dual trauma, you know? Why did I have to join this stream at chat, man? Trans, good for her. But yeah, people really want me to read this one. This is one of the most famous ones from what I could gather. It's long. It's like book length. Basically, it's like half a book length, pretty much. So, I forgot. What are the LLBs you read before? In the original video, I read 25 Years Later, Rich and Famous, 75 Years Later. What else? Greg, Dark Web, and Greg's No Nut November. The ones I read today on stream were Ballistic Missile and Greg Browses Rule 34. So, those are the ones I read. This is transphobic? I did not know this. I mean, I don't think it's... Wait, is it really? Because, like, it was on the subreddit. Like, it's been archived. I don't think they'd allow it if it was. I don't support it. I don't support any of these LLBs because they're all awful. They're all awful in content. This is the third most voted one. I didn't know this. All you people sounding off in the comments right now, I didn't know this. I mean, is it really? I don't know. I mean, people seem to talk about it a lot. And I mean, it's on the subreddit. It's archived. People don't say it is. So like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I don't remember this LLB being transphobic. Yeah, I assume that's the case because like I never heard anything about it being that like when I was looking it up. Maybe it's hearsay or something. Let's read. Okay, you know what? Fine. We'll read. Forget it. Okay. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Irreversible Damage, No Turning Back by U/Icy Opportunity 9. I think they're confusing with another book. That makes sense because I'm pretty sure this, from what I gather, this is a tongue-in-cheek reference to a book that we are not going to talk about on stream right now. So, let's begin. Sunday. In the past, I've bought all kinds of junk from those ads at the back of comic books, but all of them have been absolutely useless. I remember buying some x-ray glasses thinking that I'd be able to learn something new about girls, but they turned out to be just regular glasses with psychedelic lenses. Oof! Plus, all the other crap I bought put me off buying anything else from those ads, until I saw one that caught my eye. Mystery potions. 3 random potions per order. Which ones will you get? Only $4.99 per order. Call blah 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 to order. The ad was extremely sketchy, but I couldn't resist it due to the low price. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if the ad was real until this morning when I found a surprise waiting for me in the mailbox. Ooh. They really weren't lying about the potions being mysterious, as all 3 of them came in these unlabeled test tubes. Obviously, I wasn't going to test them myself, so I located a suitable guinea pig. Hello, friend! It's already the most accurate to the canon source material, so... I've seen Fregly eat his boogers and earwax on multiple occasions, so these potions are hardly the most disgusting things he's put in his mouth. As it turned out, the first potion was basically a fart amplifier. I could do without that in my life, and I made a mental note to dispose of it as soon as possible. Blarp! Jesus. Front-facing Fregly, look at that. The second potion made the drinker invisible, and it was actually pretty useful. Unfortunately, Fregly drank the entire tube, which was a big shame since I wanted to use it to sneak into the girls' locker room. Hey, can you still see my secret freckle? Oh boy. And there went any chance of me using Fregly to test the third potion. Since I couldn't see him anymore, I went home presuming he'd just wandered off. I don't know how to make Fregly visible again, but I'm pretty sure the only way is by soaking him with water. And since Fregly's never showered once in his life, he'll probably stay invisible until he gets caught in the rain. I love it. This one's good so far. Anyways, I told Rowley about the potions, but he wasn't as enthusiastic about them as I was. Wait, unlabeled potions? You can't buy those, they're illegal. They could kill you. What? No, it's just some harmless fun. I'll bring some to school tomorrow to show you. In truth, I have no idea what the third potion does, but I'm hoping it's something good and not another fart amplifier. Monday. I brought the third potion to school and told Rowley what I plan on doing with it, but he disagreed with me yet again. Don't use it on Abigail, Greg. That's not nice. I tried to explain to Rowley how Abigail deserved to be pranked because she used us to cheat on her boyfriend, but he wouldn't budge. In the end, I ignored him and slipped the potion into Abigail's drink during lunch. Glug glug. Wow. I didn't see any immediate effects like I did with Fregly and initially thought the potion didn't do anything. But then I heard there was a commotion in the girls' bathroom, and when I found out what it was, I discovered that the potion had worked after all. Scream! Oh no. Oh no, it's the gender reversal potion. Those darn potion makers. Got him. It took me a moment to realize it, but the potion turned Abigail into a guy. I wasn't expecting it, but boy does revenge feel good. Hold on. Hey Nick, you do realize that the second Wimpy Kid fanfiction that you read had more pages before it got shortened? Huh. That's news to me. That actually makes a lot of sense, considering how short it was. So. It didn't have more pages. Okay, now we're getting contradicted directly in the chat, so. Whatever. I knew I could make good use out of that potion, but I used up half of it on Abigail and wasn't sure how to get more. Since I've never been good at chemistry, I asked Alex Aruda to reverse engineer it so he could make more. Unfortunately, he wasn't interested once I told him what the potion did. Seriously, you're still interested in girls? I'll have you know that falling in love is a mental illness and distracts from the finer aspects of... I wasn't going to spend all day listening to Alex rant about how philosophy and calculus were more interesting than girls, so I moved on. This is very accurate to the lore, I'm sorry. Luckily, Shirag was willing to help me make more of the potion, so I gave him a sample to take home. I thought he'd be almost as good as Alex, but I was proven wrong. Gregory, help me! On the other hand, Chirag has successfully replicated the potion, but on the other hand, he thought it was a good idea to drink some and see if it worked. And let me tell you, it did. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. What's that line from Hannibal? Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. That fucking movie. The book is really fucked up, by the way. Luckily, the potion only seemed to have given Chirag longer hair, and I was able to fix that pretty quickly. What? Wait, what? But then Chirag told me that he wouldn't be able to piss standing up anymore. Oh. I told him this was no big deal because Mom forces us to sit down whenever we use the bathroom. But he said he has a doctor's appointment. A doctor's appointment next week. And didn't want his parents to find out about this. Unfortunately, I never paid attention in chemistry and I had no idea how to brew antidotes, so I just told him to try drinking more of the potion while standing on his head. With that out of the way, I collected several bottles of the potion and left. When I got to school, I ran into Raleigh, and by the looks of it, he thought I'd done something to Abigail. Yesterday, Greg told me he planned on pranking Abigail. I told him not to do it, but he still did it. Brilliant writing. Luckily, I came prepared and I gave Raleigh a juice box as a peace offering. What Raleigh didn't know is that I'd laced the juice with the fart amplifying potion. Of course, he eventually found out, but at the worst possible time. Blarp! All the guys thought it was pretty funny, but the girls thought differently of it. To be honest, I felt a little bad for Raleigh, but I hope he remembers this the next time he tries to betray me. You're disgusting! Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. Luckily for me, Raleigh was too stupid to determine that his fart and the juice were linked. And he forgave me for admitting that... And he forgave me and admitted that he was wrong for thinking I did something to Abigail. In other news, I also brought the gender-swapping potion to school in the hopes of using it on more people. My first target was Patty Farrell, as she really hates guys thanks to people like me, and I knew she wouldn't take becoming one too well. What's everyone looking at? And, hey, what happened to my voice? Patrick Farrell. Just him whistling in the background, that's good. Since I'd only used the potion to turn girls into guys, I decided to try the opposite and gave some to Tyson Sanders. It didn't work quite as well. Oh my god. Oh my god. You ever seen Dodgeball? With that's what that reminds me of. I guess the potion works better on girls because Tyson did not look like a convincing girl. At least he won't be able to moon me as he uses the bathroom anymore. Fortunately, Tyson seemed happy with the result and said he was going to show himself off to the other guys. I told him I wasn't interested and left, but it was only then that I remembered I forgot to tell him there was no antidote as far as I knew. Speaking of which, I ran into Chirag, who told me the potion hadn't worn off and that my idea hadn't worked. I was pretty well out of ideas, so I just gave him the potions company's phone number and told him he could probably order an antidote from there. I'm not sure if the company actually makes antidotes, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I guess it was Wednesday. I guess it was inevitable that Abigail's parents would notice that their daughter was now their son, because I saw Mr. Brown talking to Vice Principal Roy about suing the school for forcing his daughter into a sex change. Oh, topical. Ugh. Let's just carry on. As a result, I ended up not using the gender-swapping potion because I wasn't sure if Mr. Brown had ordered an investigation into his daughter's transformation, and I certainly didn't want him to suspect me. You mean his son. Not Wimpy Kid related, but are you aware of the fanfic author Shakespeare Hemingway? He makes some silly Garfield fanfics. Thank you for the $5 donation, Z squared plus C. I think I've heard the name before. And I would not mind doing a video on Garfield fanfics. Although Garfield has been memed to death already, so it might be treading familiar ground. Like, I know of, Lasagna Cat, I know of, like, The Forgiveness of John, I know about the, oh, what's that one? Just all the, like, the, you know, all, like, you know, the memes, so... Maybe, but thank you for the donation, and thank you for the suggestion. Chirag wasn't at school today, so I went over to his house to see if the antidote had worked. But the company seemed to have sent him a pack of mystery potions that he mistook for an antidote. At least I can start using the invisible Chirag joke seriously for once. Can you see me? Do you know if I still exist? Oh, man. Nah, that was funny. I actually reread the first 5 or 6 books recently just to kind of refresh my memory, and they hold up pretty well, actually. I mean, I could read one in about an hour, granted, but they're still pretty funny. Have you ever thought about doing a video on OK Buddy Rosalind? I would love to. I would love to in the future. I have to find a good angle, though, so... Anyway, we got a lot more pages to read, so... From what I know, these invisibility potions wear off with water, so I just told Chirag to take a shower. When Chirag was in the shower, I noticed 2 more test tubes lying on the floor. One of them was broken, but I ended up pocketing the other one. As it turns out, the water thing only works in comics, and Chirag was still invisible once he finished his shower. I told him I'd do more research into making him visible again, but in truth, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Well, apart from test out that potion I stole from him. Last night I found out that Manny had stuffed slices of meat into the disk drive of my video game console, and I decided that the potion would be the perfect way to get revenge on him. It's a good thing Mom hadn't woken up yet, because I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have let me lace Manny's cereal with the potion. And what's the word for mushroom in Egyptian? Boom! You got shroomed. That's how Digby do it. Ha! I don't get it. I prayed that the potion wouldn't give Manny fangs or wings, or luckily, and excuse me. I prayed that the potion wouldn't give Manny fangs or wings, and luckily for me, it didn't. Instead, Manny stood up on his plastic potty and began swaying from side to side while doing a sneezing gesture. Oh, poor innocent Greg doesn't know what that is. Wow. Manny was still doing that weird dance when I left, and I think he'll be stuck doing it until he dies from exhaustion if the other potions are anything to go by. I ended up taking that potion to school with me because there are tons of idiots who deserve to be permanently stuck doing that weird dance, and the first person I could think of was Ruby Bird. For you, Miss Bird. Heh heh. Oh, wonderful. Excuse me. One sec. I've heard that female mosquitoes are more aggressive than their male counterparts, and I think the same applies to whatever species Ruby and Fregley classify as, because she bit me twice before grabbing the can from me. That hurt like hell, but it was all worth it for the end result. Jesus. Now that's irreversible damage right there. And if that wasn't enough, I also gave some to the guys at lunch, and that shut them up for... Unfortunately, I was starting to run out of the dancing potion, so I couldn't use it on all the guys. And to make matters worse, Raleigh decided to join in because he thought the dance looked fun. Sometimes I don't know about that boy. I ended up avoiding Raleigh for the rest of the day, and I hoped that none of the stuff I did would bite me back. But I totally forgot that Fregley was still invisible, and I only realized that after school. Are you sure you don't want to hear about my hygiene issues? Bro's spreading potion around the school like a witch. Yep. I'm not sure if Fregley was actually chasing me, but I ran anyways because you can never tell with him. I swear that's the fastest I've ever run, and by the time I made it home, I was out of breath. I grabbed the first can of Coke I found in the fridge, but it was only after I'd taken a huge swig of it that I noticed a note on the back, and it was in my handwriting. Uh-oh. Do not consume. Poisonous. Uh-oh. I'd totally forgotten that I used the can to store the extra gender-swapping potion Chirag made, and by the time I made it to the bathroom, it was too late. Scream! Shriek! Scream! Oh no, here we've got Gregina Heffley now. Good for her. If Chirag wanted revenge against me, then I think he succeeded. I mean, sure, I'm not invisible, but I'm pretty sure I won't be able to explain this to Mom and Dad. I forgot to mention this earlier, but the only reason why Chirag got away with brewing the gender-swapping potion was because his parents are away on a week-long romantic getaway and they haven't come back yet. This is probably the only situation where dabbing is funny, in a Wimpy Kid story read by Nick Carlson Press. True. This is the type of shit that happened canonically because Greg's that much of a moron. Yes. On the plus side, all the people I've wronged won't be able to recognize me now. That, and I make for a much prettier girl than either Chirag or Tyson, which made me wonder if the drinker's gender didn't affect the potion after all. Anyways, I still had to do something about my new look. Cutting my hair wouldn't work because I had nowhere to dispose of it without Mom or Dad noticing, so I decided to tie it up with my old Stealthinator headband. Greg, can you take off your headband at the table? That's impolite. I got out of having to take off my headband by claiming that someone spilled paint in my hair during art class and I was trying to hide it. But then Roderick spoke up and I realized I hadn't been the only one at home when I drank the potion. That must have been painful because I heard you upstairs screaming like a girl. Come on, Greg, you've got to man up. Oh boy. Ironically, I was trying to man up by tying my hair and talking in a low voice, as the potion made it much higher pitched. I kept praying that Mom and Dad would get distracted by Manny, as he hadn't touched his dinner and was still dancing, but I guess they thought he was just imitating something he saw on TV. To be honest, I'm not sure how I'm going to tell Mom and Dad what happened to me. I'm pretty sure they won't believe me if I told them about the potion. On a related note, I should probably come up with a new name for myself because I'm pretty sure there aren't any girls named Greg out there. I ended up settling upon Greta, probably because it's the closest I could find to Greg, but also because it was the name of a character in a comic I really liked. I mean, sure, she's technically a crazy stalker, but I don't think anyone will see the link unless they've read that particular comic. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, so whatever. Friday. Only today did I realize I didn't have anything to wear. None of my old clothes really fit anymore, and I spent all my money on the potions, so buying a new wardrobe's out of the question. I stole some stuff from Mom's closet, but I think I needed a more permanent solution. Then I realized I could just steal Abigail's clothes since I turned her into a guy. And to do so, I decided to make her a special treat. I sure hope this works, because I used up the last of my dancing potion to make lemonade for the Browns. Anyway, once I was done with that, I went over to Rally's to see if he was done doing that stupid dance from yesterday. But as it turns out, he was more excited about something else. I thought Rally had become desperate for a girlfriend after Abigail dumped him, but as it turned out, he was just glad to have someone to watch his cartoon about colorful unicorns with. Oh god, Rally's a brony! No! Does he have a jar? I told him I wasn't interested in that show, but I'm not sure if he understood me. At least Rally actually offered to carry my bag for me. I'm not sure if he always sucks up to girls or if his parents want him to be a perfect gentleman, but it worked out. Wonderful. It really helped because I was wearing a skirt. I swear that's the last time I raid Mom's closet in the dark. No, seriously, how do girls deal with that constant breeze around their unmentionables? I guess they'll get used to it, but it still feels really uncomfortable. I wore a dress once, years ago. It actually wasn't bad. On the plus side, I was finally able to sit at the girls' table without being called a creep. I just told everyone I recently transferred into the school and that was enough to spare me from whatever was going on at the table I used to sit at. Oh no! No! No. Apparently, the guys were actually offering to pay Tyson to sleep with them. Oh, forgot. I'm just gonna assume these characters are 18 and seniors in high school. So, apparently the guys were actually offering to pay Tyson to sleep with them, even though he looks like my Aunt Gretchen. I knew most of the boys at that table were desperate for girlfriends, but I never thought they were that desperate. I've said it many times before, and I'll say it here again. Most boys my age are just a bunch of wild animals. Now that I'm a girl, I'm not even sure if I want to be in a relationship with a guy. I mean, sure, there's Rowley, but I think he sees girls as mother figures rather than love interests, and that just doesn't work for me. I thought I'd be able to carry out my plan myself, but I'd soon realize I wouldn't be able to take care of both Abigail and Mr. Brown on my own. I ended up inviting Rowley to join me, though I had to think of a cover-up because I knew he'd never work with me if he knew what I was actually planning on doing. After I noticed that Abigail didn't come to school today, I told Rowley we were going to give her some drinks, and he almost instantly agreed to help me. Alright kids, what do you want? We're Abigail's classmates, and we came to bring her this care package. Believe it or not, but Mr. Brown actually let us in. He said that Abigail's been pretty torn up about her transformation, that she's barely eaten since. Anyways, I gave Rowley some of the food and told him to offer it to Mr. Brown while I went to see Abigail. Honestly, I'm not sure why Abigail was so upset about becoming a guy, as she wasn't that bad looking. She's not outright handsome like I used to be, but still. Wow. Abigail started whining about how her boyfriend Michael ditched her because he didn't want people to think he was gay, but I shut her up by offering her some lemonade. After I grabbed most of Abigail's clothes, toiletries, and some other stuff that I liked, I went downstairs and found that Mr. Brown had also drank the lemonade. Rowley seemed concerned for him, but I said it would wear off eventually. After we left, Rowley asked me what I had in my bag. I told him Abigail gave me a bunch of cloves, but he opened it up, grabbed a tube of cherry lip gloss, and ate the whole thing. Moan. Wow. Elaborate? What? The time I wore a dress? It was a bet. Me and my sister were, playing ladder ball. She had a dress on. I was wearing shirt and shorts. She lost, and she told me that it was, because she was wearing a dress and she couldn't, do a proper form. I didn't believe her, so she dared me to swap clothes. So... Eventually, we both came back out of the house. She was wearing shorts and a shirt, and I was wearing a dress. Oh, man. Oh, that was a... I actually lost the game, so I guess she had a point, so... Rowley says he's eaten cherry lip gloss at least twice, and he got sick both times. I'm not sure why he would still thinks it's made from actual cherries, but someone should tell his mom to stop buying it. After dragging Rowley back to his house, I went home and discovered that Manny still hadn't snapped out of his weird dance. However, Mom was more concerned with my new look. Greg, what happened to you? Is there something you'd like to tell me? It's good my parents aren't like the Jeffersons, because I'm pretty sure Rowley's parents would force me to take the antidote to that potion, if it exists. Instead, Mom told me she'd always love me regardless of what gender I identified as. Aw. It was pretty uncomfortable with Manny dancing at the table, but at least one of my secrets is out. I just hope she doesn't find out about everything else. Nick Carlson dress. Brilliant. Remember how I said Chirag's parents were on a week-long romantic getaway? They must have come back recently because his dad showed up at our house this morning. Uh-oh. Mr. Gupta told me his son was missing and all he was able to find was a note that accused me of being behind his disappearance. I thought for sure I was screwed until I realized he thought I was a mom. Do you have any idea where your son might be, Mrs. Heffley? Gregory, he probably went to the park. That was enough to throw Mr. Gupta off, and he thanked me for my help and left. After discovering that Rowley wasn't home, I decided to see if Mr. Gupta had followed up on my lead and gone to the park, and sure enough, he had. Who are you? And who's Greg Heffley? You think this is funny, Greg Heffley? You think you can get away with treating my son like this? Mr. Gupta's strategy, if you could call it that, consisted of him yelling at the first kid he found who vaguely looked like how I used to. He then got yelled at by the kid's mother, and they were still arguing by the time I left. After I got bored of watching Mr. Gupta, I went over to Rally's to see if he wanted to play video games, but I don't think we were on the same page. Greta, what did you do to Abigail and her dad? Rally said he was pretty sure I drugged the Browns, and he was going to tell on me for doing that. I knew I couldn't let this happen, and I slapped him. Bap. Usually in movies, the guy won't fight back after the girl slaps him, but this didn't apply for Rally, and he attacked me. Though luckily for me, he's even worse at gym class than me, and despite him being fat enough to sumo wrestle, I eventually got the upper hand. You wanna play? Let's play the pain game. No, please, have mercy. That's canonically Rally's voice, by the way. After I was done tackling Rally, I asked him if he was gonna pretty sure he meant to say rat me out. He said he would, so I shoved some of the gender-swapping potion I'd been carrying down his throat. Oh no. I'm gonna keep this hidden, by the way. I've heard a lot of guys tell Rally he's cute, but I've never been able to understand what they saw in him. And trust me, he did not make an attractive girl either. No! That is horrific. What a drawing. Oh my god. That is art. That is art right there. As soon as Rally saw how he looked, he started crying about how he should never have trusted me and how his parents were going to ground him when they found out about this. While he was still blubbering, I used the opportunity to sneak off since I didn't think I could handle any more of Rally's whining. When I got home, I turned on the TV to see if anything good was on. However, Dad seemed to have left it tuned to the news, and they were talking about the consequences of the dancing potion I brought to school. This just in, a 5th Westmore student is dead following a mysterious dancing outbreak at the school. More on that later. Uh-oh. While the report didn't mention anything that would have made me a suspect, it did say that investigations would take place on the weekend and that the school would reopen on Monday. And here I was wishing for a break. I was surprised that some of those kids died so quickly, but I soon realized I should have expected it. After I noticed a putrid smell from upstairs, I traced it to Manny's room and found patient 0 dead in his bed. Oh, he died doing what he loved. Dabbing. I decided not to tell Mom about Manny, but she eventually found out, and that sent her into hysterics. I wasn't able to decipher everything she said, but I'm pretty sure she said something along the lines of planning Manny's funeral as quickly as possible. I just hope it's not tomorrow. And just as I hoped wouldn't happen, today was Manny's funeral, and it took up almost the entire day. It didn't help that I hadn't stolen any dresses from Abigail and had to wear a pair of Mom's high-heeled shoes, even though I could barely walk in them. Oh my god. I'd also like to add that since Manny's funeral was so hastily planned, Mom didn't actually know where he was buried, and we had to walk around the cemetery for what felt like hours. I'm surprised I didn't twist my ankles in those shoes, though. I'm pretty sure I almost did. Oh, the funeral itself was extremely pathetic. Us 4 were the only people in attendance, and the service consisted of Dad giving a 30-second speech about how Manny died too young, followed by a 30-minute lecture from Mom that detailed every single one of his precious moments. Manny, I always thought you looked so cute with Tingy, and it was such a shame when your father threw it away. If only we could have buried it with you. And there was that... This is actually getting pretty grim. Me and Roderick weren't allowed to say anything, presumably because Mom thought we'd both screw up big time. True. That's not to say she wasn't mad at us, though, as she later grounded me for a week for throwing out some stupid spiky tinfoil ball that Manny made. Yes, he actually made me another as compensation for breaking my video game console. Again. Your brother made that for you! All this is fresh in my mind because I just read Roderick Rules, so... Though I suppose that's nothing compared to the 2 weeks Roger got for suggesting "Rest in Hell, Satan" as a description for Manny's tombstone. She even lashed out at Dad for throwing away Tingy, even though he did that years ago. That resulted in a full-blown argument. After Dad told Mom she was overreacting, and Mom ended up storming off to Grandma's, saying she'd rather spend time with someone who actually cared about Manny. On the plus side, Dad lifted the punishment Mom gave me and said she'd probably cool off soon. I hope she returns soon because, if not, I'm pretty sure Dad's going to make me cook for him, and Roderick and I don't think I'm up to the task. While I lay in bed last night, I came up with a great idea. Seduce Bryce Anderson and become the most popular girl in school. Frickin' tonal whiplash! Good grief! I realized that since I hadn't told anyone I used to be Greg Heffley, no one would know about all the crap I did in the past. Plus, I know for a fact that most boys my age are super easy to seduce since they're all desperate for girlfriends. I got up really early because I wanted to choose a cute outfit I knew Bryce would like. I never thought I'd end up saying that, but I did a pretty good job in the end. To top it off, I sprayed on some perfume I found in Mom's bathroom. It must have worked because there were tons of guys staring at me in the same way I used to look at girls like Holly Hills. However, Bryce wasn't one of them because he was too engrossed in another girl. Uh-oh. Okay, calling Rowley a girl is quite a stretch, as he looked exactly the same as he used to, just with longer hair. He was still wearing boys' clothes, and I wasn't sure why, and Bryce had suddenly taken an interest in him until I listened in on their conversation. So, what did you think of Kindness Will Always Win? I think it's Joshy's best song yet. Come on, I thought it was good, but Joshy Says is still my all-time favorite. Oh no. Oh no, they're bonding over pop stars. Nick, did you just dab? I don't know what you're talking about. My camera must have hallucinated. It was at this point I realized I'd fallen into the same trap as every girl who had a crush on Bryce by not focusing on his interests. Though now that I know he likes Joshy, I'd rather stay away from him as you couldn't pay me to listen to any of Joshy's songs. At least the other girls had previously been unaware of this. I heard that Bryce Anderson likes Joshy. You mean that kid singer? Are you trying to tell me he's gay? Due to Bryce's popularity, not all the girls believed me, and some of them thought I was trying to ruin his reputation because he rejected my love confession. But I think they understood that Bryce was taken because I witnessed him rejecting Bailey Anthony's confession in the hall. Bailey, I hate to break this to you, but we can't be together because there's someone else in my life that I love. What? As soon as I heard that, I knew Bryce was talking about Rowley, and I decided to confront the latter about it. I can't believe you. You, Rowley Jefferson, are dating Bryce Anderson? Actually, it's Rowlett now. Bryce and I both like Joshy, and he says he prefers fuller-figured girls, so it works out. What kind of name is Rowlett? That sounds like a Battlemon name. And how the hell have you managed to get the hottest guy in school? Listen, Greta, if you're not okay with this, we're not friends anymore. I'm a little shocked by how well I've taken to being a girl, though that's probably thanks to years of observing their behavior, and of course, reading the Slumber Party Pals series. I swear, one of the best things I found in Abigail's room was a near complete collection of those books, and I just had to take them because I've had nothing to read since Mom donated my Underpants Bandits books because she thought I was too old for them. When I got home, I remembered that one of the books had the titular characters in a similar situation to me, and I thought that reading it could provide some help. The Slumber Party Pals, number 7, Boyfriend Trouble. So in the book, the Slumber Party Pals, Katie and Lindsay, both have a crush on this guy named Justin, who prefers Katie. This prompts Lindsay to attempt to break them up several times during the story, which culminates in a huge argument between her and Katie. You used up all my purple lip gloss because you knew I wanted to wear it to the roller rink. Well, you only wanted to wear it because you knew Justin would be there. But in the end, Katie and Lindsay realize their true value of friendship and everything goes well for them. Until the cliffhanger ending appears in Book 9. I'm sorry I used up all your lip gloss. And I'm sorry I kissed Justin at the roller rink. Wait, what? Honestly, Katie and Lindsay have fallen out so many times that they make my friendship with Riley look stable. But they only seem to argue about relatively minor stuff, while me and Riley have more important issues at hand. Here's the thing. I am not in love with Bryce. I never have been, and I still think he's just as obnoxious as ever. Honestly, I thought it'd be super easy to seduce him and become the queen of the school, but Riley just had to ruin everything. Though it's not like he's about to become the next Holly Hills, because I told Bailey that Bryce likes fat girls and I bet his popularity will plummet overnight. I was about to reread another Slumber Party Pals book when Dad called me downstairs, and since Mom still hadn't come back, he confirmed my worst fears. Well, Greta, you're the lady of the house now, so you'll be making us dinner tonight. I asked Dad why he wouldn't make anything, and he said that cooking is a woman's role. He also told me that if I'd rather be a boy, he'd sign me up for the swim team and rec league soccer again. And that's how I ended up spending the entire evening in the kitchen while Dad worked on his miniature Civil War battlefield and Roger took a nap. Since Mom never let me into the kitchen when she cooked, I had no idea what to do, and I ended up making some instant mac and cheese because it was the only thing that seemed relatively easy. Nobody's talking to you, now shut up and eat it. I forgot to mention this, but I don't like mac and cheese anymore. Let's check the chat. Honestly, I kind of wish the only fantastical element in the story was the gender swap stuff. I kind of felt that part got lost in the weeds a bit. Yeah. Even though the mac and cheese wasn't very good, making it was still 100 times better than soccer practice or swim team. I think Dad's a little disappointed that he's gone from 3 sons to just 1, but I'll happily fill Mom's role if I don't have to man up anymore. Tuesday. Remember how I said Bryce wasn't going to be the most popular guy in our grade for long after his love for Joshy and fat girls became widely known? Well, my prediction came true. Bryce, how could you deceive us like this? We thought you were way cooler than that. Are you really gonna ditch me just because I like fat girls more than skinny ones? And that was basically it for Bryce. I hope he's happy with Riley because he won't be able to easily regain his lost popularity. With Bryce out of the picture, I had to find a new guy who could help me become the most popular girl in school. Unfortunately for me, the pickings here are pretty slim. I thought about dating Abigail's ex, Michael Sampson, but then I found him in Sherry Bellinger sitting at the couples table and acting like Abigail never existed. Slurp smack. Ugh. After watching Michael and Sherry for a few minutes, I was starting to feel nauseous, and I moved on. I decided to start off by listing the most well-known guys in our grade, other than Bryce, but the only ones I was able to come up with were Darren Walsh, Cody Johnson, and Jamar Law. All of them were known for the wrong reasons, and I couldn't imagine why anyone would want to date them. Nickname is Dookie. Got his head stuck in a chair. Started the cheese tie. Oh, man. Apart from those idiots, the only other guys I thought of were Alex Aruda and his fellow nerds, and the guys I used to sit with at lunch. I discarded the idea of Alex and his friends because they all probably think love is a mental illness and that statistics are way more interesting. As for the lunch guys, the fact that they're obsessing over Tyson says everything you need to know about them. I like this. There's also Patty Farrell, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't I'm pretty sure she wouldn't react well. Isn't he Patrick now? Whatever. I'll just read the text. But I'm pretty sure she wouldn't react well to learning who I am. Plus, she seems more interested in protesting about the school food than relationships anyways. Avoid the calf. Bro, how long is this? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's something like 100 pages, but because the pages go by really quickly, I'm just kind of speeding through it. At this point, I decided to give up and begged Riley to let me have a turn with Bryce, but he wouldn't budge. You're just jealous. You're just jealous. Wow. Raleigh also said he hadn't told Bryce about what I did to Abigail, but that he'd do it if I kept bothering him. So now I've got to make sure he doesn't tell anyone, because if not, I could lose my one chance of becoming popular. While I was walking home, I decided that the best way to stop my secret from getting out was to buy more of those mystery potions and hope that one of them turns Raleigh into a slug or something. I overheard Bryce and Raleigh talking at lunch today, and I got an idea for how to deal with Raleigh. Are you excited about the Joshi concert? Yep, I'll show up at your place first. Since my potions hadn't arrived, I planned on reusing the lemonade I gave the Browns, and I knew just the person for the job. Give me 3 pairs of your undies and I'll do it. Are you okay with that? Is that... Oh, that's Chirag. How about no? Is there something else you'd like? Like, I don't know, an antidote or something? Chirag then told me he was actually starting to enjoy being invisible, as he could do whatever he wanted to without getting caught. Eventually, though, I was able to tempt him with some Playboy magazines I found in Greg's room and Abigail's bed sheets. Don't ask me what he planned on doing with the latter. Ugh. My plan involved Chirag sneaking into the Jeffersons' house and getting Raleigh to drink the tainted lemonade. I left the rest up to him, and after I gave him the lemonade and the bed sheets, I went home to find Uncle Gary at the front door. Uh-oh. Oh no. Hey cutie, if I could rearrange the alphabet, I'd put you and I together. Oh no, I guess they're continuing the trend of Uncle Gary being a perv. I'm surprised Uncle Gary isn't on an FBI watch list given his behavior around girls. After I called out Uncle Gary for hitting on me, I asked him what he wanted, and he said he landed a job as an entertainer at adult parties. But they were actually looking for women, and the only reason he got hired was because he sent his resume under the name Melody Angel Star. And he attached a photo of himself dressing in drag. As soon as I heard that story, I knew I could put the gender bender juice to good use, and I invited Uncle Gary inside for a drink. Just as I predicted, Uncle Gary didn't look much like an actual woman, but at least he was happy with the result. I'm not sure how successful he'd be at his new job, though. Woohoo! Oh boy. Oh boy. Once Uncle Gary left, I went over to Chirag's to see if he'd carried out my plan. He told me that while the mission was a success, it hadn't gone entirely to plan. I told Chirag to hide in the Jeffersons' house so he could watch the scene unfold and report back. He told me that Mr. Jefferson had actually arrived home early and he ended up drinking the tainted lemonade. As a result, he got stuck doing that weird dance and there was no snapping him out of it. While this wasn't exactly what I wanted, I hoped that Raleigh realizes the dangers of betraying me once he learns that his dad won't stop dancing. I didn't see Raleigh all morning and I thought he hadn't showed up for school. I was about to thank my lucky stars for that until I went to use the bathroom and learned that I shouldn't have been so optimistic. Greta Heffley, I know what you did to my dad last night. Uh-oh. I tried to reason with Raleigh, but he kept insisting that I was responsible for giving Mr. Jefferson the lemonade. I wasn't even anywhere near your house when all that stuff happened. And why do you think I'm the cause of everything bad in your life? I know you don't like me, but still. Do you think I'm stupid, Greta? I know you don't like my dad, and I know you got Abigail to do that same dance with that lemonade. After we both shouted ourselves hoarse, Raleigh said he wanted me to come over to his house so we could fight. Yeah, I don't think this is how most girls solve their problems, and I'm not sure why Raleigh wanted to fight me, given how badly he lost last time. He claimed he just learned several new moves in his karate class, but I didn't think much of that considering he's been a yellow belt for the past 5 years. I've been talking for too long. Raleigh was actually pretty serious about the fight, as he changed into his karate uniform once I showed up. So you have chosen your destiny, mortal. I bet Raleigh thought he looked like the boss from some Japanese fighting game, but it didn't matter since he got badly beaten again. Do you still feel tough now? Arg, no, help me! After Rally got... Greta kind of rocks that outfit, though. Let's be real. Honestly. After Rally got beaten, he complained that he hadn't prepared himself yet and that I jumped the start. But I wasn't going to listen to any more of his whining, and I pulled out my secret weapon. My potions had arrived today, and I'd stuffed them in my shoes so Rally couldn't find them. I thought this would guarantee that I won, but I underestimated Rally's strength. Shove. That was enough to smash the test tubes, which made the potions unusable. But I had one more trick up my sleeve. Rally, I'd like to apologize for what happened to your dad. But you don't understand. We had to miss the Joshi concert because we had to take him to the hospital. Shortly after that, Rally broke down, which gave me plenty of time to go through his stuff and escape. I ended up taking a load of Rally's money to compensate for the potions I'd bought, as well as his diary and several of his video games. I'm not sure why Rally was so upset about losing his dad, considering he also had tons of cool video games that I didn't have. Until now, that is. Once I got home, I decided to play Rally's copy of Brutal Souls 7. I'm not sure how he got his parents to buy him such a violent game, but I was looking forward to playing it since Mom never let me get it. But just as I was about to beat the first level, Dad came home. Greta, we're running out of food in the fridge. You and Roger should go buy some more. I asked Dad why he couldn't just eat out, and he said grocery shopping is also a woman's role. I'm beginning to think that Dad's only understanding of female behavior comes from Mom and whatever stereotypes existed when he was younger, because I think he's trying to mold me into a housewife. Did it again, sorry folks. I'm pretty sure the only reason he sent Rajik with me was because the supermarket isn't that close to our house and I haven't got a driver's license. Though on the bright side, at least Dad's not forcing me to play sports anymore. I wasn't expecting to run into anyone at the supermarket, but I ended up seeing Mom of all people. And she wasn't alone either. This Speak to the Dead ritual works well, but I miss speaking to Manny in person. If you want, I actually know an ancient necromancy ritual. Would you like to hear it? Uh-oh. We're going Pet Cemetery now. Mom just acted like me and Roderick didn't exist, and she continued to talking to Aunt Audra about resurrecting Manny via witchcraft or something similar. I thought Mom would start paying more attention to me and Roderick after Manny died, but it's still clear he's still her favorite child by far. After dinner, which I made, of course, I decided to crack open Rally's diary and see if he'd written anything that could possibly incriminate me, and unfortunately for me, he had. Dear Diary, I am pretty sure that Greta did something bad to Abigail because they said on the news that she and her dad were still doing that weird dance. I thought it looked like fun when the kids at school did it, but now I think that Greta is responsible for that too. Anyways, I told Greta I knew what she did and she got really mad and hit me. Whap. Then she beat me up and made me drink a potion that turned me into a girl. Wow. And there were more of those pages, mainly towards the back of Rally's diary. Let me just say that Dad's shredder ended up having a field day. After I'd shredded all the pages detailing my misdemeanors, I returned to Rally's diary to see if he'd written anything else about me. But the rest of it was comprised entirely of meaningless nonsense about his Dino Blazers, Joshi, and Bryce. Dear Diary, Bryce is the best boyfriend ever. Today he bought 2 copies of Josh's newest song, Kindness Will Always Win, and he gave one to me. Isn't he the sweetest? And another good thing about Bryce is that unlike with Greta, my parents actually like him. I know this because when I told my dad about Bryce, he said, Bryce and his family are good people. By this point, I'd had enough of Rally's diary and I buried it at the bottom of the recycling bin. So if anyone wants an incomplete account of Rally's life, they can fish it out of there. I spent the rest of the night playing Brutal Souls 7 because I desperately needed some palate cleanser after reading Rally's diary. 4th time, sorry. I used to think that Rally's inability to see evil in anyone was a problem, but it finally came in handy today. Are you sure Greta didn't steal your diary? From what I've heard, she seems like nothing but trouble. No, I don't think so. I know she's mean sometimes, but she just gets jealous really easily. Give her some time and she'll return to normal. After hearing this, I decided to leave Rally alone. It's not like I even care about Bryce anymore, as he's now at the bottom of the popularity charts thanks to his love for fat girls becoming known around the school. That left me with finding another guy who could help boost my popularity, but that was like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, until I found a note in my locker. Uh-oh. Who's this guy, Chris? Christopher, yes, I remember him from Dog Days. It took me half a second to realize the note was from Christopher Brownfield, as his attempt at sneaking around only made him stick around even more. I later found out that he had actually done this several times. I also sent Alyssa, Bailey, Erica, and Holly notes, but you're the only one who answered. So you in for a date on Saturday? Well, sure, I guess. Yeah, I'll be there. Sorry. You know what? I'm gonna go grab some more water. I'll be back. Be back in a minute. Sorry about that, folks. My throat was getting really scratchy from talking for so long. Thanks for your patience. I wasn't sure how popular I'd become by dating a guy who weighs something like 250 pounds, but I thought it would work because couples tend to be big news at school. The girls at my lunch table didn't agree with me, however. You actually accepted a date from that guy? He's been trying to hit on me for the past 2 years. I've heard he also has problems keeping his hands to himself around girls. I thought that was the only time I'd be surprised today, but I ended up running into someone I didn't expect to see when I got home. And how was your day at school today? On the plus side, Mrs. Jefferson offered to make dinner for us, which meant I could play more Brutal Soul 7. But I would have offered to cook anyways if I knew she'd be making us watercress salad. Oh no. Oh god. Oh. Chef Nick video idea. Watercress salad. Yeah. That's actually a good idea. I think I'll do that for like a short or something, because I don't think I can make a full video out of it. Someone remind me in the chat. Watercress salad for a Chef Nick video. In Mrs. Jefferson's defense, her watercress salad wasn't quite as bad as the one Grandpa makes, but it was still very far from good, and I still hated it. It didn't help that Roderick decided to torment me the same way he does whenever we stay over at Grandpa's. Greta loves watercress salad. Fortunately, I only had to eat one serving of watercress salad before Mrs. Jefferson made us some brownies for dessert. But in my excitement to get rid of the watercress salad's aftertaste, I forgot she always bakes spinach into her brownies. Patoo! Har har har! Wow. What I really like about these LLBs is how they recycle, like, pre-existing images from the books in, like, very clever ways. Like, I know where all these come from. And, like, this is from Roderick Rules, obviously. This is from, I think this is from Dog Days, but like they just change up a character or a hairstyle, and yeah. I mean it's good stuff. It's creative. Like seriously, like the fandom does good work with this. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, Dad came home from work and he and Mrs. Jefferson started making out on the sofa. Oh no, which made defeating the third boss in Brutal Souls very uncomfortable. Can you two get a room or something? Smooch. Ugly truth? It was an ugly truth, really? Okay. Still, there was an elephant in the room I wanted to address, and once Mrs. Jefferson had finished making out with Dad, I immediately asked her about it. If you're here, then where's Rowley? I thought you never left him home alone. Oh, you mean Rowlette? She's at Bryce's because she said she didn't want to see you. But don't worry, I understand. Wait, what? From what I heard, you two were fighting over a boy. Greta, this is totally normal behavior for girls, and your mother and I can attest to that. Mrs. Jefferson then proceeded to tell me about how she and Mom got into a huge fight over this guy when they were in middle school. Given the circumstances, I wonder if the guy in question was Dad. Speaking of Dad, he was the only one who wanted Mrs. Jefferson to bathe him. I never understood why she still insists on giving Rowley baths, even though he's perfectly capable of doing it himself. She offered to do the same for me and Roderick, but we both declined for obvious reasons. Oh, and Dad was really eager about being bathed by Mrs. Jefferson. That was especially annoying because I was using my turn to determine how I'd tackle my upcoming date with Christopher Brownfield. Greta, are you done in there? Can you please give me about 5 more minutes? Please? I like how this started out, like, funny potions, lol, Greg's a girl now, but now it's, like, actually compelling, like, looking at, like, actually, this could actually be a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book with Greta. Pleasant surprise, admittedly. I didn't see Dad and Mrs. Jefferson after they went into the bathroom, and I can only presume they looked like stale raisins once they got out. I can't recall Dad ever doing something like this with Mom, which made me wonder if their relationship really was deteriorating over time. Come to think of it, that's probably why Mom started watching all those romantic comedies with Dad, though his general apathy towards them speaks for itself. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because I decided to watch one in the hopes of understanding how girls act on dates. I wasn't expecting a cinematic masterpiece, but I was still disappointed by what I saw. Oh, Brandon, I love you so much. Kiss me again, you sexy beast. Kiss, smooch. The movie was about as basic as you could get and involved a ditzy, airheaded girl falling in love with an unrealistically perfect guy. After a few minutes, the main characters were starting to remind me of Rowley and Bryce, and I shut it off. At this point, I decided to forego doing research for the date, as winging it seemed like a much more viable option. I mean, most boys my age are so desperate for girlfriends that they wouldn't care if I didn't bring any money or said I hated something they liked. They paint me as the woman, yeah. I'm clipping that. Ah! Artist Panda donated $5. I don't really have anything in particular to say. I haven't read Hell's Golf, but I'm planning to pick up a copy sometime. Well, I appreciate the thought, and thank you very much for the desire to read my book and the $5. Thank you very much, Artist Panda. Saturday. My date with Christopher Brownfield was today, and he told me to meet him at the park. Given how quickly he'd scheduled the date, I wondered if this was some kind of prank until I saw him show up. Hey there, Greta. Oh, wonderful. Our first stop was the arcade, because Christopher told me that he'd heard I liked video games. I thought he could impress me by playing... He thought he could impress me by playing Thunderbolt, but he wasn't very good at it. Damn it! You lose! After seeing Christopher's underwhelming performance, I showed him how to play the game properly. You win! Christopher was impressed with my score, and he proceeded to tell me that I can make big money by doing that. Actually, the best gamer girls sell their bathwater. Have you considered doing that? Okay, I'm not interested anymore. The deadpan humor in both the LLBs and the source material is, like, pitch perfect. You know, like I said, these books have aged very well, and like they still hold up, even reading them now as like a 28-year-old man. After we were done with the arcade, we had lunch at Papa Tony's, though we ended up getting 2 separate pizzas because Christopher insisted we get one with pineapple and anchovies on it. Are you sure you don't want any of my pizza? It's really good. No thanks, I'm on a diet. Hot take, I actually like pineapple on pizza. I think a lot of people are being performative about hating it. That's me, though. I thought the date was going to end there, but Christopher then said he wanted to invite me to watch a movie. I was pretty excited about the prospect of doing that until I realized he wanted to watch an X-rated movie. You must be at least 18 to watch Uranus is Burning. May I see your IDs, please?
I forgot my ID at home, but I can assure you that I'm over 18.
Nick, you should sell your bathwater. For legal reasons, this is a joke. Well, I'm glad you clarified it. You know, Belle Delphine sold her bathwater. I think Sydney Sweeney tried selling soap or something that had, like, her essence in it. I'm not kidding. Look this up. I'm not kidding. And I wanted to get some just so I could make fun of it, like, for a video, but I think it's sold out by the time I realized what was going on, so... To make a long story short, the ticket guy didn't buy Christopher's lie, and we didn't end up watching the movie. Not that I missed anything, as I'm pretty sure Uranus's Burning is rated X for a reason. I thought I'd finally be able to go home, but Christopher told me that since we were at the mall, we might as well walk around. What really happened is that he dragged me into Victoria's Secret so he could buy me some underwear as a present.
Alright, how about this one? Or do you like lace better?
I'm not trying any of that stuff, and I'm not trying on any of that stuff, and especially not with you around. I told Christopher that... I told Christopher that he might as well get a bra to tame... This is a great line. Tame his giant man boobs. But he wasn't listening to me. After we were finally done there, we returned to the park and he actually said something good for once.
You know, Greta, I'd like to say that I really enjoyed our little date today.
Wait, really? But of course, I should have known that was too good to be true.
I mean...
Uh-oh. Sorry, I got a, Sorry, folks, I think we froze for a bit. But I think we're back online now, so, Are we back online? I hope so. Okay, good. I'm sorry about that, folks. We paused for a bit there, and right as Greg was about to kick Christopher in the balls. Sorry about that. Are we still live? Let me just double check. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Okay. I can hear the audio fine, so hold on. Check 1 2. Yeah, audio's back. I can hear. I have the stream going on. I can hear you, but it's not synced. Ah, damn. What a shame. The syncing is still fucked up. So, like, what should I? What a shame. It's synced for you. Okay, so it's synced for some people, but some people can't hear me? Nah, never mind, it's good now. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what the fuck happened. I just saw a notification that said OBS disconnected and then it reconnected again. There's a storm going on right now, so I wonder if that was what was going on. Okay, I'm just gonna keep reading because people are I'm just gonna keep reading. Try like refreshing the stream or something then if you can't hear me, because some people say they can hear me, some people seem they can't. So I'm just gonna keep reading. Usually in movies, this would be the scene where the girl starts crying and slaps the guy. But I felt even okay, half the people are saying that the stream broke. But I felt even angrier than that, and I did something I thought I'd never do. Ouch! Actually, there's tons of guys I'd wanted to do that to, and the only reason I haven't done it yet is because Dad keeps saying that boys shouldn't do it to each other. Of course, that rule no longer applies to me, and I hope Christopher learned a valuable lesson from that kick. He probably won't be able to impregnate girls now. Yeah, if you're still having issues, refresh. Refresh or exit out of the stream and then come back. I don't know what else to tell you. Sorry. When I finally got home, I discovered that Mom had come back, but she wasn't the only one who'd returned. Uh-oh. Pet Cemetery. We got Pet Cemetery here. Shit. I thought the necromancy ritual Aunt Audra mentioned was just as fake as the other crap she believes in, but it must have worked because Manny was alive and well. Mom said that Manny came back to life because he loved us all so much, but didn't buy her explanation for a second. Besides, if Manny did love us, then he wouldn't continue calling me Bubby, even though it's quite obvious that I'm not a guy. I don't even know how he recognized me since I was still a guy when I gave him the dancing potion. Bubby! I told Mom that Manny was misgendering me, and she said she'd get him to start calling me Sissy instead. But that had no effect on Manny, and he continued to call me Bubby. Hey, Bubby, give me more ketchup! Once again I complained to Mom, but this time she told me that Manny was only 3 and that I had to give him time to adapt. I tried telling her that he was deliberately referring to me as Bubby to be annoying, but she wouldn't budge, not even after I showed her this drawing he gave me today as an apology. I will not call Greg Bubby because it makes him mad. Bubby! From Manny. I know Manny's only 3, but his inability to understand remorse still amazes me. Transphobic Manny. It's funny. Manny has been, reappropriated for just about every side of the political spectrum, honestly. Manny was once a BLM icon back a few years ago. But now he's transphobic. Truly, Manny is the perfect centrist, I guess. At least I'm not the only one who's got something against Manny. Dad later got into an argument with Mom after she refused to tell him how she resurrected Manny. I considered telling him about Aunt Audra's necromancy ritual, but decided against it because he refuses to believe anything supernatural. Susan, do you really expect me to believe that Manny can just come back from the dead? He's your child just as much as Roderick and Greta are. You should be happy he's back. After this, Dad asked Mom if Manny was his biological son, and she forced him to sleep on the sofa. I'm pretty sure he wishes she... Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm gonna skip ahead and see how much longer this fanfic is. Okay, so we're on... What are we on? We're on... What page is this? Sunday... Oh, Christ, this thing's long. Actually, not too long. Yeah, it's pretty long. What do you think, chat? Should we finish it tonight, or should we call it a night? I'll wait for some answers. Okay, so I guess everyone's immediately saying to finish it. Overwhelmingly finish it. After this, Dad asked Mom if Manny was his biological son, and she forced him to sleep on the sofa. I'm pretty sure he wishes he'd married Mrs. Jefferson instead by this point. I first thought Dad's question was a little far-fetched, but I'm starting to think he has a point now. For instance, Manny called me Bubby again this morning, and I told Dad to punish him accordingly. But unfortunately, I got this. Well, Manny, Greta's a girl, so you can't, call her Bubby. I'm only 3! I've never seen Dad yell at Manny before, even though I know he yelled at me and Roger countless times when we were Manny's age. I think he's actually afraid of yelling at Manny because he knows Manny will rat him out to Mom and she'll make him sleep on the sofa again. And in case you're wondering why I don't just think Manny is Dad's favorite child, it's because I've seen almost no interaction between the two of them. Ever since me and Roger could barely walk, Dad's been trying to get us to do all kinds of outdoorsy stuff, whereas I've never seen him make Manny do the same, though I reckon that's because he can't. I'll be taking the boys camping this weekend. What do you think, Susan? Actually, Manny can't go. He has swim lessons on Saturday and dance class the day after. I don't understand why Mom enrolled Manny in all these extracurricular activities, since he's already struggling in preschool and I doubt those other classes are helping him. Something else I'd like to point out is that Manny doesn't look much like me, Dad, Roderick, or anyone in the Heffley family for that matter. I've been through all the old photo albums at Gammy's house, and I haven't found anyone who looks even remotely like Manny. So if you're wondering why I draw him so differently from me and Roderick, it's because of that. Wow, canon explanation. When I was little, Roderick used to tell me I was adopted, and I fell for that way more times than I like to admit. I wish I could say the same about Manny, but I'm pretty sure he isn't, because Mom spent months hyping up his birth, and that can't be easy to fake. And just in case you thought Manny inherited his looks from Mom's side of the family, the only person on that side who looks like him is Uncle Larry, and I'm pretty sure he isn't actually related to us. Guess who's here? Uncle Larry! Going back to today, Dad's punishment had no effect on Manny. He continued to call me Bubby throughout the rest of the morning. Hey, Bubby, get me some cereal! Since Mom and Dad were useless, I decided to take matters into my own hands by screwing with Manny's screwing with Manny's cereal. I put in his milk first, followed by the cereal in the hopes that he'd see what would happen if he continued to call me Bubby. But Manny just had to ruin everything once again. Bubby ruined my cereal! As soon as Mom saw what was going on, she gave me a week-long video game ban. I tried to reason with her, but it devolved into a huge argument. Do you think I'm stupid, Greta? I know what you did to Manny's cereal. Hell, I wouldn't eat it if you made it that way. Honestly, I thought you were more responsible than that. Mom, he's been calling me Bubby nonstop for the past day. Aren't you going to do something about that? In the end, Mom told me she couldn't trust me with Manny, and she took him shopping with her. Looking back at it, I should have known better than to argue with a woman who writes a negative review for every restaurant that gets her order wrong. But then again, the fact that she's willing to let Manny get away with all manner of misdemeanors speaks volumes about her obsession with him. Once Mom left, I decided to play Twisted Fighters until I remembered my awful date with Christopher Brownfield. Well, kicking him in the nuts felt pretty satisfying. I also wanted him to drink the gender bender juice, and I went to the kitchen to check on my stash. But when I opened the fridge, I discovered that all the cans were gone. I guess that's what I get for leaving them unattended for almost an entire day. Since I'd written do not drink warnings on the cans, there was only one person who could have stolen them. Roderick. Alright, give them back. At first, Roderick denied stealing the gender bender juice, but he eventually admitted to doing so and claimed it worked well as a prank device. He said he'd showed the cans to his friend Ward and he used them to prank people in the Home Depot parking lot. What the heck? Har har har. Roderick said he had 2 cans left, but he'd only give them back if I handed out loaded diaper flyers on the Crossland High School campus while wearing a Playboy bunny suit. I refused to do that, and since Roderick didn't give me any other options, it looks like I'll have to sneak into his room and steal them when he's not looking. Either that, or I'll cross my fingers and hope that he drinks them so he has to dress as a Playboy bunny. Oh no. What is going on in the chat? I see someone saying, guys, let's not turn this into Twitter, so... What is going on? Oh, just typical hijinks, I think. I ended up playing Twisted Fighters until Roderick's band arrived for practice, at which point I went out. I first thought of going to Rowley's to apologize, until I found out he'd already invited Bryce over. So, Rowlett, is Josh the cutest guy in the world? No, you're cuter. Hee hee hee. Rowley left his window open so I could hear him and Bryce giggling like idiots about Joshy. After a minute of listening to them, I felt nauseous and returned home. I thought I'd have to sit through Roderick's band practice until Dad offered to take me to the mall. Alright, Greta, which one do you like better, the flowers or the polka dots? Can we go to an actual clothes store and not a drugstore? By the time we got home, loaded diaper practice had ended, but Mom still hadn't returned. She didn't come back until just after dinner, and by that time, Dad was on to her. So let me get this straight, Susan. You were just shopping for 6 hours? Actually, I was enrolling Manny back in his activities. They disenrolled him after he died. It wasn't long before an argument erupted between them. Susan, Manny's already failing preschool. If you're going to spend my money, why not spend it on a goddamn tutor? Come on, Frank. When will you admit that Manny's destined to do great things? These classes will help him. Actually, I won't, because he isn't. We tried the same with Roderick and Greta and got no results. I could have spent that money on Civil War memorabilia instead. Are you writing Manny off entirely based on his siblings' failures? I can assure you that he's different from them. Wow. Intrigue. Little did I know that Manny is in fact different from me and Roderick, though not in the way Mom intended. Uh-oh. Eventually, Mom got up, grabbed Manny in a duffel bag, and walked out the door to our minivan. To my surprise, it was running and someone was already in it. Hey, Susie, let me guess, Frank's having a cow again? I should have known there's something going on with Uncle Larry much earlier, given his resemblance to Manny and my belief that he wasn't actually related to Mom. And if that wasn't enough, Dad was furious upon seeing him here. Larry frickin' Cunningham, I knew you never fully disappeared from my life, you ungrateful bastard. Mom didn't listen to him, and she got in the van, which sped off into the night. It was only then that I remembered she hadn't made us dinner yet. If you wanted to know how mad Dad was, he shut himself into the furnace room for the rest of the night. Even after I tried to bribe him with dinner, he still wouldn't come out. Are you sure you're not hungry? I've got your soup and it's starting to get cold. Just leave me alone, Greta. I left for school early, partially because I wasn't sure if Dad was still mad at me, but mainly because I wanted to go to Chirag's to work on the plan. I first thought of giving Christopher the gender bender potion, but Chirag came up with something better. You know that stuff in the lemonade Mr. Jefferson drank? Well, I liked it so much I made more of it. Oh yeah? Well, yeah. Oh, that? Yeah, I guess we could use that instead. I left the rest of the plan up to Chirag because I was starting to run late and I had gym class for first period. This was probably the first time I was looking forward to that class, mainly because I wouldn't have to wrestle. Actually, us girls don't have to do any contact sports, and I'm totally fine with that because contact sports are the most barbaric things ever. I mean, sure, gymnastics are pretty hard, but they're a million times better than getting pummeled by Benny Wells in a Victorian-era bathing suit. I love how the plot went from Greg becomes a girl to a fully fledged family drama with a dark mystery. True. Yeah, no, it's getting real unironically good so far. Anyways, I think letting Chirag do his own thing was a mistake, because once he arrived at the beginning of gym class, he'd set his sights just beyond Christopher. I don't know where Chirag got all those rowdy riot cans from, but I do know it's basically catnip for guys, as pandemonium erupted as soon as they saw those cans. Bruh. I once drank some rowdy riot and I thought it tasted like refrigerated piss, so don't ask me why those guys were fighting over 4 or 5 cans of what they thought was that drink. The only reason why Mr. Underwood didn't hear the boys fighting was because he was making us girls do warm-up drills and he was playing upbeat music in the hopes of motivating us. This can is mine, and mine only. If you want one, go buy one yourself. Kick. The fighting stopped by the time Mr. Underwood split us into pairs and went to check on the guys. But when he did, the news wasn't good. Uh-oh. I'm not sure why the school didn't close down the last time I used that dancing potion, but I'm pretty sure I'll get some time off once Principal Roy learns about this. Oh my god. All the dabbers. Only after this did I realize that Christopher Brownfield doesn't have gym class with me, so I told Chirag to give it to him at lunch. But once again, he overdid it. Luckily, school got canceled for the rest of the day after a teacher discovered that the guys were still dancing when lunch ended. I thought I'd be able to go home and beat Brutal Soul 7 before Dad returned home from work, but I ran into someone I'd hoped I'd avoid today. Greg Heffley! Greg Heffley, I know what you did today. You're coming to my house to explain, or else I'll tell everyone what you did. It's a good thing Mrs. Jefferson wasn't home because our argument soon escalated. I was furious at Raleigh for calling me by my old name, though I soon found out why he was doing it. Not that that made it any better. I thought girls were nice, but now I know they're a bunch of manipulators. They've corrupted you, Greg. We both need the antidote to that horrid potion immediately. Uh-oh. I'll have you know that I actually enjoy being a girl and you can't change that. And besides, you're not my friend, so what control do you have over me? Unfortunately, Riley kept threatening me to get the antidote for the gender bender juice, and I thought I was screwed for sure. Wait, I can't spoil that right now. Then I noticed a test tube poking out from under the sofa, and I realized that one of my potions had actually survived our last fight. While Riley was still ranting about all the stuff we did when we were boys, I shoved it down his throat, and he was reduced to a human bowling pin. Scream! Oh, that's perfect. I'm not really sure why there's a potion that makes the drinker's limbs fall off, but it made getting rid of Riley a million times easier. All I had to do was smother him with a pillow and stuff him in a garbage bag before burying him in the Jefferson's backyard. Once I was done with that, I stuffed Riley's limbs into another bag and shoved that into his neighbor's green bin. Roblox character. Yeah, oof. I sure hope no one finds out Riley's dead, but just in case, I left a note in his writing about how he ran away because he was unsure about his sexuality. I also took the rest of his money because he sure doesn't need it anymore. When I got home, I realized that I wasn't the only one who got sent home early because Roderick was there too. Punch, punch, punch. I tried to tell Roderick that he couldn't beat up girls, but he proceeded to brag about his exploits with the gender bender juice. According to him, he'd used it on at least a dozen people, including Heather Hills and several other girls who'd rejected his love confessions. Don't ask me how he didn't get caught, because he's not exactly discreet. I didn't see Dad all day, even though he didn't go to work today. Since Mrs. Jefferson wasn't home either, I'm pretty sure they were doing exactly what you think they were up to. Wow. I ended up playing video games until I heard a knock on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone, and I was truly surprised when I found out who it was. Look who came to see you again! When I tried to confront Mom about the incident with Uncle Larry, she claimed that he was related to her and that she'd gone to his house so she could cool off. I didn't believe her story at all, and I called Dad to confront her. Unfortunately, he sent Mrs. Jefferson over, and everything got worse from there. Sorry. Ploopy! Uh-oh. Intrigue. Drama. I think that Manny calling Mrs. Jefferson the P word speaks volumes about what he and Mom think of her. Remember how Mrs. Jefferson told me about how she and Mom fought over a guy? Well, the guy was Dad after all. I can't believe it, Linda. I thought you got over your crush on Frank, but here you are, living in my house, sleeping with my husband, and trying to raise my kids. Who do you think you are, trying to take my place? Susan, you've just shown that you love Manny more than Frank. If you really loved him, would you abandon him like you just did? Would you cheat on him with a bad comedian? Denying it won't make it go away. I didn't know you're comfortable saying slurs. Oh, sorry, I forgot. It must have slipped my mind. Y'all can't stop me. I will say the P word whenever I want. Then Dad showed up and he made quick work of Mom. Susan, get that bucktooth brat out of my house, and don't even think about bringing him again. He's your son, Frank. You can't talk about him like that. No, he isn't. And don't act like I know what you and Larry were up to. I saw you, and I know your little secret. Ploopy. Can't stop me. After this, Mom and Manny went outside, but only so Mom could taunt Dad. Or at least try to do that. I don't really know why Mom thought the sight of her making out with Uncle Larry would make Dad jealous, and I thought it was more disgusting than anything, really. Smooch. The worst part is that they did that in our driveway for 10 minutes before Dad threatened to call the cops on them. When they finally left, Mrs. Jefferson offered to make me a grilled cheese, and I gladly accepted her offer because I needed something to distract me from the unholy trinity. I sure hope I don't run into them again. Contrarily to yesterday, Dad and Mrs. Jefferson got up really early today so they could pour over some paperwork. Dad said he was signing divorce papers, so I guess I won't be seeing Mom around for much longer. Still, I was wondering why Dad hadn't told me about Uncle Larry, and when I asked him, he said he might as well tell me the whole story. I don't think Dad's told me any stories since I was 8, but this had to be one of the most eye-opening things I'd ever heard. Anyways, Dad claimed he was one of the most popular kids in his grade during middle school. I'm not really sure why, but I guess beauty standards were much lower back then. Mrs. Jefferson then chimed in and told me that both she and Mom had crushes on Dad back then, and they argued about him all the time. She said that almost all the girls in school wanted to date him, which puzzled me because neither me nor Roderick have ever found ourselves in that situation. Come on, Linda, you're too prim and proper. Frank likes girls with a wild side like me. Besides, we like the same things, and I know the kids will be beautiful. Susan, do you really like Frank, or do you just want to be popular? Do you know anything about the Civil War? I didn't think so. Uh-oh. Eventually, Mrs. Jefferson went out, and she and Dad started dating at the end of 8th grade. It was pretty obvious that Mom was jealous of them, though. This is getting dramatic. Good Lord. While Mrs. Jefferson said Mom avoided her during summer vacation, she was back to normal by the time high school came around. However, Dad said this was also around the time that Uncle Larry transferred into school. According to him, Uncle Larry was a huge loser who wanted to be the class clown, even though his jokes didn't even make sense. Basically, Uncle Larry was Dad's version of Fregley. I got a fish, would you like I got a fish, would you like to make a wish? I got a fish, would you like to make a wish? I got a fish, would you like to make a wish? Yeah, that is definitely Fregley coded. Apparently, Uncle Larry was also into... He just so happened to. Apparently, Uncle Larry was also into black magic for some unknown reason, and that's what drew Mom to him. She claimed she actually thought his jokes were funny, but everyone at school knew she only began dating him in the hopes that he could make Dad fall in love with her. After a few months, Mom began to have actual feelings for Uncle Larry, and the two began dating. Mrs. Jefferson and Dad thought the relationship was finally safe, but there was something else they hadn't anticipated. This is getting deep! Here's the thing. Mrs. Jefferson's family was pretty rich, but Dad's wasn't, and still isn't. They didn't approve of Dad dating Mrs. Jefferson, and they wanted her to marry Mr. Jefferson. Apparently that's a Chris Chan reference. Just goes to show how much I know. I don't know who Shadman is. I don't know who Chris Chan is. I mean, I know who Chris Chan is, but I don't know anything about that person's lore. So... They didn't approve of Dad dating Mrs. Jefferson. They wanted to marry Mr. Jefferson, despite him being 10 years older than her. Apparently, he was already a successful businessman by this point, but neither Dad nor Mrs. Jefferson approved of her parents' decision. I know I'm not as rich as Robert, but I love Linda and I know she doesn't. Come back when you're rich and we'll discuss this again. But Daddy, I love Frank. You can't make me marry that old geezer without my approval. Hey, who are you calling an old geezer? Excuse me. Hey, who are you calling an old geezer? That's better. Eventually, Mrs. Jefferson's parents banned her from seeing Dad, which prompted him to buy tons of scratch tickets in hopes of impressing her with tons of money. Fortunately, all he managed to do was get Uncle Gary addicted to those tickets. This was also around the time that Uncle Gary disappeared without a trace and Mom's crush on Dad reemerged. With Mrs. Jefferson out of the picture, Dad began to develop feelings for Mom and they eventually married, though he claimed he never forgot about Mrs. Jefferson during that time. Smooch. Wow. When Dad said he and Mom were initially happy together, she got bored of him right around when I was born. I distinctly remember the two of them acting all lovey-dovey around me, and I thought it was absolutely disgusting, but it was actually one of Mom's attempts to rekindle her and Dad's relationship. I love you so much, and I love you so much. By the time I was 8, Mom and Dad's relationship was really rocky, and the only reason why Dad hadn't divorced her is because he knew Grandpa and Uncle Joe would never let him live it down. It didn't help that Mom used to work as a preschool teacher, and he knew she'd get custody of me and Roderick after the divorce. In short, Dad was stuck with Mom, even though they spent almost no time together. This all culminated in her randomly announcing that she was pregnant for the third time, which shocked Dad to no end. Guess what, boys? We're gonna have a new baby brother soon.
Patoo!
Dad maintains his belief that Manny's birth and the days that followed were the worst of his life. Not only was he forced to pretend someone else's son was his own, but Manny's biological father was also in attendance. While Dad didn't know it at the time, Uncle Larry had returned and began showing up at Mom's family gatherings shortly after. Is Uncle Larry a real character in the canon series? While Dad initially dismissed Uncle Larry as yet another of Mom's many strange relatives, it didn't take long to realize Uncle Larry was the weird kid Mom dated in high school. That, coupled with his bizarre fixation on Manny, led Dad to believe that Uncle Larry was Manny's father. You know, you've got some pretty great sons, Frank, especially Manny. What wouldn't I do to have a boy like him? Okay, so Uncle Larry is real. Okay. Unfortunately, Mom seemed to have noticed this, and she threatened to destroy Dad's miniature Civil War battlefield if he ever tried to tell anyone that Uncle Larry and Manny were related, or that Manny wasn't his son. With the deaths of Manny and Mrs. Jefferson, Dad thought he'd finally get what he wanted, but he said he couldn't rest easily knowing that Manny and Uncle Larry were still out there. He said he'd make them pay for what they'd done, but he didn't know where they were hiding. Since Dad had told me tons of stuff I never knew, I thought I might as well spill the beans on what Mom and Aunt Audra were talking about last week. Uh-oh. I overheard Mom and Aunt Audra talking about using a necromancy ritual to resurrect Manny. Do you think Uncle Larry was helping them? As soon as Dad heard that, he dragged me to the car and said we were heading to Aunt Audra's. He must have really wanted his revenge on Uncle Larry, but Aunt Audra was just as intent on not helping him. Frank, I consulted with the stars, and people with your sign are expected to have a month of bad luck. Would you like to hear more about that? Why don't you use your psychic powers to help locate Susan, Audra? Aunt Audra eventually caved in after Dad told her he had a gun and that he was going to shoot her up her crystal ball collection if she didn't tell him where Mom was. According to her, Mom and Uncle Larry were hiding in a rundown apartment complex, which didn't surprise me because Dad said Uncle Larry actually dropped out of high school and couldn't afford a proper place to live. So you're looking for Cunningham, huh? He'll be in room 426. The whole building was sketchy as hell and it smelled really funky. I'd attribute that to the other tenants, most of which looked like they were involved in some illegal activity. Hey, want some candy, little girl? Yuck. We passed by 3 of those idiots before Dad started lecturing me about how I shouldn't follow the good girls love bad boys ethos, though I don't think that's actually true. I mean, if it was, then Roderick should be covered in girls, even though he clearly isn't. And anyhow, I'd much rather be in a relationship with a girl than some dweeb like Christopher Brownfield. I don't know when Dad will learn that I'm a lesbian, but I hope he doesn't because I don't think he entirely approves of me becoming a girl. Wait, when was this mentioned? Did I just gloss over this fact that Greta is a lesbian now? Did I skip over that, or is this the first time they're mentioning it? We ended up taking the stairs because the elevator was broken and I had to listen to Dad's lecture all the way. I was almost relieved when we got to Uncle Larry's apartment until I remembered that Uncle Larry actually lived there. Oh, hey there, Frank. So what brings you here on this fine, dandy day? Dad didn't say anything, and as soon as Uncle Larry turned his back on him, he drew his gun. Actually, it was Roderick's paintball gun, but it had roughly the same effect. Yow! Zing, splat. Dad must have shot Uncle Larry at least 20 times before he ran out of ammunition, but just as we were about to leave, Mom and Manny returned. I thought Mom was going to notice Uncle Larry writhing around in the corner, but she spotted me first, and she thought I actually wanted to live with her. Oh, you're going to love living with Larry. He's so funny, he's a great cook, and he's been an amazing father to Manny. While Mom continued to vaunt Uncle Larry's virtues, I went to the kitchen and noticed a can of Peachy Breeze ice cream on the counter. Seeing it reminded me that Manny is allergic to peaches, and that gave me an idea. Ice cream! Soon enough, Manny went completely ballistic as soon as he took a lick of his ice cream, which gave I'm sorry, I don't talk for this long normally. Which gave me and Dad plenty of time to escape. Scream! Squeal! Later tonight, we learned that Manny was dead again. I swear that's the best I've felt since the last time he died. Breaking news. A 3-year-old is dead after eating Peachy Breeze ice cream. Do you know what your kids are eating? I sure hope Mom doesn't resurrect Manny again, because I think the world's much better off without him. I'm not quite sure what Chirag's been up to lately, but I'm pretty sure he started using the gender bender juice on random people. I mean, that's the only explanation I could find for this. Evan, if you're watching this, yes, it's me, Julie. Yes, I know I look like Grant Halfley, or whatever that kid's name is, but I can assure you it's me. Breaking news. 15 more Westmore students undergo. Don't ask me how I missed this, but I actually look a lot like Julie Weber. Or at least what she used to look like before she drank the potion. If I knew what she looked like as a guy, I would have made her drink the potion and use her as a body double for myself. I could have made her go to school and do all my chores for me while I spent all day at the arcade, but I guess it's too late now. Interesting. Greg looks like Julie Weber. Was Frank unfaithful, potentially? Anyway. Then again, that doesn't matter anymore because Dad just dropped a bombshell yesterday. Pack your bags, kids, because we're going to move to Boston by Saturday. Admittedly, I wasn't that surprised by the news, as I'd heard that Dad was urging his boss to transfer him ever since several of his co-workers drank the dancing potion. Plus, Mrs. Jefferson said she wanted to get away from Mom, and she thought moving to Boston could serve as a fresh start. While I initially wasn't sure how I felt about moving, I soon realized this was my chance at a fresh start. Mrs. Jefferson actually managed to convince Dad to enroll me in an all-girls school, so I won't have to deal with any more idiots for the next few years. If anything, I'm crediting Rowley's note for making that happen. After I'd written that last paragraph, I remembered that I started these journals thanks to Mom. With her out of the picture, I began wondering if I should continue writing in this, and in the end, I realized I'd have way more time for other stuff if I stopped. I never thought I'd reach this point, but I also never anticipated anything that happened to me within the past 2 weeks. Anyways, I'm running out of paper here, and I might as well end on a high note, so I guess this is the end. Now that I think of it, those potions were good for something after all. Holy crap, guys. Oh my word, that was insane. That was a crazy freaking story. It started off one thing, and then it became like a million other things. It was really, really good. It was like probably better than the 25 years later, because that is just like, because 25 years later like set the standard for like, you know, these LLBs, but this just freaking like ran with it. And it just did so many crazy things with all these characters. You know, it was grounded, but it still had absurd things as well. Honestly, like, I could probably make a video about this. Honestly, I could. The problem is, however, is that I'm currently writing a script for the FNAF 2 movie novelization right now. And I wanted to get that out as soon as possible, just kind of, you know, bank on it while it's still young, you know? But damn, that was like, interesting. Yeah, I could make a whole video about this, like this alone. Yeah, that was pretty nutty, guys. That was pretty nutty, and I'm surprised that we have this many people still here. I think the chat peaked around like a little over 100, but now there's 90 people watching. Gosh. Yeah. Yes, they did make a novelization of the FNAF 2 movie, and yes, I am reading it. Yeah, I guess maybe I could make a part 2 of this, and have it solely be about irreversible damage. I'd be super interested in an hour-long compilation of you reading these. Wow. Yeah, the problem is, as you saw throughout the stream, I don't talk well for long periods of time. I stammer, my throat gets dry, so I don't know about that. Any preliminary thoughts from FNAF 2 novel? It's written just like the first novelization, which means it's not good. So there's that. But it's actually doing a few interesting things, so not as bad as I thought, but still pretty bad. Is the novelization better than the movie? Almost anything is better than the movie, to be fair, so yeah. Okay, folks, well, that was an insane night. Yeah, thank you for staying up with me all night and getting to the end of this really, really quite good LLB. So, with that, I will cut out for the night. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all next time.